mouth? You know the one. You're in a meeting, you have an idea, and suddenly your stomach tightens. Your mouth goes dry. You open your lips to speak, then close them again. It's draining your creative energy and making work feel like a performance. According to Deloitte research, 61% of employees hide aspects of themselves at work, worried about how they're perceived instead of focused on doing their best work. Today we're breaking the 3 psychological traps that sabotage your productivity and creative edge, and I guarantee you're caught in at least one of them right now. But first, understand this. When you hide parts of yourself, you're paying 3 hidden prices that compound over time. First, your career security suffers. You get passed over for promotions, lose influence in key decisions, and become the first person cut when layoffs happen. Second, your brain stays in a low-grade stress state, constantly monitoring what's safe to say instead of focusing on solving problems. Third, you lose access to your full creative capacity because you're splitting mental energy between performing and thinking. That's the real cost of hiding, and it's why we're breaking these traps today. Here's how to disarm them and unlock your best work. The ideas that get you noticed, the contributions that make you irreplaceable, and the career momentum that comes from actually being yourself. And if this resonates with you, if you felt that voice editing your thoughts, hit like. It helps me know this message is landing with people who need it. The approval trap, trading authenticity for acceptance. Here's the approval paradox. The more you seek external validation, the less authentic value you actually bring. Your brain learns to prioritize what gets applause over what's actually true. Picture a marketing manager with a bold, unconventional campaign idea, something that would truly stand out. Before speaking, she imagines her colleagues thinking she's not serious enough or too creative for her role. So she stays silent. She feels the idea slip away, feels herself shrink, feels the familiar weight of playing it safe. Later that week, a colleague pitches a similar idea. Not as good, but close enough. It gets approved. She watches it happen and thinks, "That was mine. I had that first." But she didn't say it. She never says it. That moment of self-censorship? That's the approval trap in action. This impression management becomes automatic. You're not even aware you're doing it anymore. But here's what most people don't realize. Approval seeking amplifies all 3 costs we just discussed. Over 50% of people in the Deloitte study said hiding made them feel disconnected from their organization. Your brain treats this constant self-monitoring as a threat response, keeping you in that low-grade stress state we talked about. Microsoft faced this exact problem. Their competitive, individualistic culture created burnout and stifled innovation until Satya Nadella shifted toward connection and empathy. The approval you're seeking might be costing you the impact you want to make. The safety trap, when protection becomes prison. What is the real cost of playing it safe? It's not just a stagnant career, it's becoming completely replaceable. Psychological safety isn't about eliminating risk. It's about realizing that most workplaces feel riskier than they actually are. Speaking up rarely carries the consequences we imagine, yet we stay silent anyway. Here's what I mean. 2 scenarios. Scenario A. You see a critical flaw in your boss's plan. Your brain screams, "If you point this out, they'll think you're disrespectful. You'll be labeled as difficult. Your career is over." So you stay silent. Scenario B. You point it out. Your boss says, "Good catch. Let's fix that." And suddenly you're invited to strategy meetings because you're seen as someone who thinks critically. The fear in scenario A feels real. But scenario B is what actually happens most of the time. Consider a junior developer who spotted a critical flaw in a senior architect's design. Afraid of being shut down or labeled disruptive, she hesitated for days, drafting emails she never sent, rehearsing conversations she never had. But in a team meeting, hands shaking, she finally spoke up. The architect thanked her, fixed the issue, and asked for her input on future projects. The fear never materialized. Instead, she gained trust and visibility, leading to invitations to strategy meetings and a fast track to a senior role. Here's the paradox that most people miss. The safer you try to play, the more you activate all 3 costs we discussed earlier. Organizations accidentally reinforce this in a way that's almost invisible. And it all comes down to one signal that leadership teams send without even realizing it. When leadership teams lack diversity, they signal who belongs through representation. If everyone at the top looks and thinks the same, anyone different assumes they need to hide parts of themselves to fit in. This creates the ultimate paradox. Playing it safe actually increases your long-term risk. You become replaceable, your ideas become generic, and your career stagnates because you're not bringing what makes you unique. So what fear is currently dictating your silence? Is it fear of being wrong? Fear of standing out? Fear of not being taken seriously? Patagonia figured this out. They actively celebrate whole people, not just employees. They understand that when people feel safe to bring their full selves, they're more motivated and innovative. The safety you're protecting might be the very thing keeping you trapped in mediocrity. Real security comes from being valuable, not from being invisible. The workplace that feels risky for authenticity is usually the one that needs it most. Your best protection isn't hiding. It's contributing something nobody else can. The identity trap. The high cost of staying in your lane. Your professional persona has split you in half. That title you worked so hard to earn, it's now the box everyone, including you, expects you to stay in. We all do it. The cost? Maintaining separate versions of yourself feels like wearing a mask 24/7, and masks are suffocating. You're at work being the serious analyst, then you go home and paint or rock climb or write poetry, and nobody at work knows that version of you exists. Part of you is celebrated, part of you is hidden, and the hidden part? It's starving for acknowledgement. It's lonely to be known for only half of who you are. That's the cognitive tax. Think about the finance executive who must always be analytical, numbers-driven, completely rational. But what if he's also an art lover who finds creative inspiration in museums? Or the data scientist who's secretly a violin virtuoso? We compartmentalize our multitudes because we believe professionalism means narrowing ourselves. But here's what most professionals don't calculate. There's a hidden cognitive tax to maintaining separate versions of yourself, and it's stealing more from your problem-solving capacity than you realize. The energy you spend being two different people is energy you could spend solving your biggest work problems. But here's what's worse. The creative part of you that you hide at work, it holds the solutions to problems you're struggling with at work. There's a powerful case study of an executive who finally shared that he volunteered at a homeless shelter. This simple revelation unlocked a profound connection with an employee who had grown up in shelters. Consider a data analyst who loved painting in her spare time. She was struggling with a complex visualization problem at work, approaching it with pure logic. When she finally applied her painter's mindset, thinking about composition, color theory, and visual hierarchy, the solution became obvious. Her hobby wasn't a distraction from her work. It was the missing piece her professional skills needed. The result? She solved a problem that had stalled the project for 3 weeks. Her visualization became the template for the entire department, and she was recognized as the go-to expert for complex design challenges. What passion, interest, or perspective are you keeping separate from your professional identity? The most innovative solutions happen when we stop staying in our lanes and start integrating our full capabilities. Your unique combination of experiences is your competitive advantage, not something to hide. What one idea did you withhold this week because you worried how it would be received? Take 10 seconds. Write down one hidden part of yourself. Just one. Now here's the good news. You don't have to figure this out alone. There's a framework that makes it simple. It's called the core method, and it's designed to help you integrate those hidden parts without feeling vulnerable or unprofessional. The core method, how to reclaim your voice. The solution isn't about dramatic transformation. It's about intentional reintegration. The core method gives you a practical framework to bring more of yourself into your work without feeling vulnerable or unprofessional. Start with curious. Investigate what you're holding back. What makes you weird is what makes you interesting. Spend 1 week noticing what thoughts you edit, what ideas you dismiss, what parts of your life you keep separate. This isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. Next, open. Share one authentic aspect with someone you trust. This doesn't mean dumping your entire life story in a team meeting. It means revealing one genuine interest, experience, or perspective that adds depth to how people see you. The key is starting small and specific. Then, release. Let go of the fear controlling your silence. Recognize that most of what you're afraid of exists only in your imagination. The actual consequences of authenticity are almost always less severe than the anticipated ones. Finally, expand. You found your voice. Now, inspire others to find theirs. Intentionally widen your circle of genuine connection by actively creating space for others to share. Ask better questions, listen more deeply, create moments where people can share what matters to them. Now, here's where most people get stuck. They know they need to share more of themselves, but they're afraid of looking unprofessional or weird. That's why I'm going to give you a simple action that works. It takes just 3 words. Here's the challenge. Define one non-work aspect of yourself in just 3 words and share it with one colleague this week. That's it. 3 words. Weekend rock climber, amateur photographer, history nerd. These small revelations create openings for deeper connection without feeling overwhelming. One project manager shared weekend rock climber in a team meeting. A typically quiet colleague suddenly opened up. I rock climb too. I've been afraid to mention it because it didn't fit my professional image. That simple 3-word reveal became the foundation of a mentorship that transformed both their careers. The manager later learned his colleague had been sitting on innovative ideas for months, waiting for permission to be fully human at work. Once that permission was granted, those ideas started flowing, and the colleague was promoted within a year because she finally had the confidence to contribute her full potential. The goal isn't to become someone new, it's to stop hiding who you already are. Conclusion. Remember that voice in your head that edits your thoughts before they leave your mouth? The one we started with? Disarming the 3 psychological traps, approval, safety, and identity, silences that voice for good. I spent years in finance hiding my passion for design and storytelling. Exhausted and disconnected, I almost let that voice stop me from suggesting a redesign in a strategy meeting. But when I spoke up, my boss said, "Show me." That one moment changed everything. My ideas became bolder, colleagues sought my input, and I felt alive at work for the first time in a decade. When you stop performing and start contributing, you access creative potential that standardized professionalism can never replicate. Your unique perspective makes you irreplaceable. Start with the 3-word challenge. Define one non-work aspect of yourself in 3 words and share it this week. Notice how your ideas flow more freely when you're not filtering them. You've learned how to disarm the traps. But knowing isn't enough. You need the system to make it stick. Subscribe for the next video, where I'll show you the exact framework I use to catch self-censorship in real time. Your best work happens when you stop hiding and start contributing.